Recording has started. So I'll share my screen with everybody. Please, can we see my screen? Please, can we see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So to add images to a page, I'll start with an empty page. I can call this maybe third class. Oh, sorry. I just say, let me rename it. Third class.html. So this is a file we want to work on. So we want to deal with images, how to place an image on a page. When we are done, we now see how to, we now include this in our current file. I think this is the current file we are working on. So we include it on this page, but let's first see how to add an image to a page. Now, whenever you want to add an image to a page, there are two things. Number one, it can be an image that's online, an online image. Or an image on your device image. So let's first look at this one, an online image. So whether you want to add online or offline, with either this or this, you need to open an image tag. This image tag tells HTML that an image will be placed here. And an image tag is a self-closing tag. You don't close it. Remember, I've already discussed self-closing tags with us that you don't close all the tags. Few of them, self-closing tags are exceptions to you closing tags. Like, you don't close the self-closing tags, you only open them without closing them. So img tag is a self-closing tag. You only open it, you don't close it. Next, if you run this, you'll see nothing on the page. That's because the img tag tells us that an image will be here, but it's not telling us the particular image that will be there. Which image are we placing there? That takes us to the SRC attributes. SRC stands for source. This is where you put the source of the image, that is, where is this image located? That's the answer that this SRC attributes, that's the question that it answers. The SRC attribute answers that question of where is the image. So you are going to place the image, the location of the image, or the URL of the image here. Once you place it here, then your code will go to that source and fetch it. I come again. img tag tells us that you want to display an image. The SRC attributes tells us the location of the image. So, like I said, we want to see how to add an online image. To add an online image, go online and search for anything. Let's say image of a toy. So I can copy the URL of any of them. Let's say I want to display this particular one in my code. I will just right click on the image, then click on copy image address. Copy image address. So I've copied the address. All I need to do is to come here and paste it here. Once I paste it here, this is the address of the image. So once I save it and I run it on the browser, I will see the image on the page. Any question? Let's do another one. I want to place maybe image of an elephant or this. So I want to place the image of an elephant on the page. Let me look at an elephant, the one I like to display. Okay, maybe I like this one, maybe, and I want to display it on my page. I think I like this with its chart. So let's click on it. Click on copy image address. Then open the IMG tag and paste it there. So when I get to the browser, I'll see there. Any question? Can we proceed?
Yes.
Okay. Next is this. Maybe I'm not okay with this size. Maybe it's too big or it's too small. I can adjust it. So let's adjust it. You can add other attributes. This is the first one. So I can add other attributes aside the SRC. The SRC is the location of the image. Here is it. So I can add other attributes. I want to. Okay. So I can add the height. Something is wrong here. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm coming. This should be right. Something is wrong. Let me click at it and see what's wrong. Okay, I don't think I'm able to figure it out. Let's proceed. Next is, I want to set the height and the width. Maybe I'm not okay with that height and the width. Maybe I want it to be bigger or I want it to be smaller or anything. So I can set the height and say maybe I want the height to be maybe 400 pixel and I want the width to be maybe also 400 pixels, so that's going to be a square. So the height and the width will be 400 by 400. That makes it a square. Maybe this, I want it to be maybe 200 by 200. So I go to that one and I set the height to 200 pixel. I set the width to 200 pixel. Note, all of these things are still inside this tag. What do I mean? This is what you are doing. IMG. The height, the width, the SRC, all of them are before this greater than sign. All of them. They are before this greater than sign. That's very important. They are not outside. Look at the greater than sign here. You can see it here. So all of them are before the greater than sign. Then I also need to tell us that the order of this does not matter, meaning that I can put the source before the height and the width, and I can even put the width maybe before the height. The order does not matter. It can be in any order. So this, I'm saying that my image should be 200 pixel tall and 200 pixel wide. So the height and the width will be 200 by 200 in place. So it has been adjusted to that. Any question? Okay, let's move on. Next is this. We want to look at an attribute called alt. A-L-T. Alt. Let's discuss the importance of this attribute. Imagine a scenario where this URL is not correct. So let's assume part of the URL has been removed. You know, it's no longer correct. Let me just remove it in the middle like this. So this URL is no longer correct. And let's run it on browser. I'll close. Let me close my tabs. So refresh. Now you can see this empty space. That's because my browser is unable to fetch this image in the URL I provided, in the provided URL, because the URL is not correct. So this is just occupying space, and the user does not know what should be there, because this thing is possible when we are building an application. You might have built an application and the image would have moved from that location. Maybe it has been moved from that location. It's possible. So if the image has been removed from that location, then it's not going to display anything. To just display this to the user, which is bad. So the user will not know what should be there. So that brings us to the ALT. The ALT attributes, remember I said it can be any other. It can be before the SRC, it can be after the SRC, anyone. So the ALT attribute, it stands for like alternative. That is, if this URL is not correct, if for any reason your browser is unable to fetch that image, maybe due to bad network, maybe the URL is not correct, maybe the image has been moved. If for any reason the image has been removed from that place, then whatever text you place here will be placed at that location. So I can say image of a tree. So this one, I can set the auth to image of an elephant. Now, not something. If the image is present, the auth will not be displayed. But if the image is not present, then the auth will be displayed. So in this case, this URL is not correct, so this auth will be displayed. While in this case, the URL is correct, so this auth will not be displayed. The auth is like alternative. In case the URL is not correct, then display this auth. Let's move on. So let's run it on browser. So you can see image of a tree. Image of a tree. Number 2. Remember in our last class I discussed with us that some people visit our page using screen readers. So since those using screen readers, since they are unable to see the pictures, what is on the page, the screen reader will read out the auth for them. It will read it out for them, so that those using screen readers will be able to use your page. That's another use of the auth. So making 2 things. Number 1, in case the image is not found, the auth will be displayed. Number 2, those using screen readers will be able to make use of your web page. So now we know what the auth is used for. Any question? So having learned this, let's now apply this to our task. So I want to add the image of Chief Olufalayi to, I want to add it inside this p tag. So I can come here and say img, then the source of the image will be here. Let me give it an auth image of Chief Olufalayi. So I can go online and search for one of these images. So let's say I want to place this image on my page. Just I click on copy image address. So I've copied the address, so I can paste it here. So when we get to the browser now, you will see his image. This is the image. So next is, well, we can set the width and the height. We can set the width and the height. Don't worry, with CSS, when you get to CSS, you'll be able to place this image and adjust it very well. So let's set the width and the height. I usually prefer my images to be square, so I'll continue with that. I'll say width equals to 200 pixel, height equals to 200 pixel. Oh, not fine. I think I can leave the natural width and height then, making it square as distorted the image. So we can leave it like this. So we've been able to add an image. Next thing is the image on your device. How do you add an image on your device? That's the next thing we want to look at. So we looked at how to add an online image to your page. Next is you want to add device image. So I'll delete everything. So you want to add your device image. Let's see how it goes. To add your device image, again, come with your...
Sorry to cut you, Mr. Taiwo.
That's it.
Does it matter where you put that line of code for Mr. Fala's image?
Yes. In this case, I'm putting it in the p tag because it's actually part of the introduction. It's inside this section tag, and I'm intentionally putting it inside the section tag just to show that it is in the introductory section. Let's assume I want to put the image of maybe it's childhood this, then I'll put it inside this tag. Do you get it, sir?
Yes, I understand.
Okay. That's perfect. Next is your device image. So I want to display an image on my device. I want to show it out. Please, I want us to pay attention here. Now, this is the folder I'm working on. Let me first open the folder. I'm inside new HTML class folder. New HTML class. Okay, I'm inside this folder. Here's the folder that I am. Now, if I put any name here, HTML assumes that whatever name I put here is directly inside this file, is at the same location with this file. Whatever name I put here, HTML assumes that it's at the same location with this file, meaning that since this is the location of this file, then whatever name I put there now will be assumed that it is here. Let's do that together. I'll go and copy an image, and let me get an image. Okay, I think I can use this. Yeah, I want to display this image. I'll copy it. I'll take it to the folder I'm working on. So this is the image. I can give it any name. I can rename it to maybe testing. You can give it any name of your choice. I'm just calling it testing since we are using it to test HTML images. You can give it any name. So I will come here and say testing. Once I put testing here, instantly it will go to the location of this file and we will look for the image with this name, testing. That's not all. You need to put the extension. So I want to check the extension of this file. Right click on it. Right click. Click on properties. This is .png. Note that this PNG is uppercase, is in capital letter. It's important. If it's in small letter, then what you will write to be in small letter. But since this is in capital letter, then what I will write to be in capital letter too. So I'll come here and say that PNG. Testing that's PNG. So let's run it on the browser and see the results. So this is the image. Next, I can give it a width and a height of my choice. Width, maybe 200 by 400 by 400 is fine. Height. Someone wants to join the class. So we have this is the then again our auth attributes. Don't forget, yeah, the auth attribute. I can say dashboard of a loan app. So that's it. Again, let's add another one again so that we get it more. This time around, I will use another image. Go to my pictures, copy image here. So I can use this image. Then take it to that folder that we are working with. Paste it directly here. Change the name. Maybe I can just name it to second image. Second underscore image. So the source here will be img second underscore image. Next is the extension. So I need to check the extension of this. Right click on properties. This is .jpg. This is a small letter. So I'll go to my code. Note we are using what you have here. So I'll go to my code and say .jpg. So let's run it on the browser also and see the results. So this is second image. It's too big. It's too big. It's too big. So let's adjust the height and the width. Width, you can say 500 by 500. So I think this is much better now. Then hot, yummy pastes. So we are good. Any question to this point before we proceed? Okay, let's move on. Next is this, not something. We are adding our image files, our images directly in the same folder with this file, which is not good. It's not so good. A good practice is to segment your application. Like you can create a folder for images. Let's do that together. I can call this images folder, images. Then I will take all images to that folder. So I will take this there, and so also this. So my images now are here. But if I run this code, let's go to the browser and run it. If I run this, I won't see the images again. You can only see the auth. That's because it assumes that this testing.png is inside, is at the same location with this third class. And since it's not here, it's unable to see it. Same thing here. I think someone wants to join the class. So since it's not the same thing here, since it is not directly here, it's unable to see it. So let's solve that problem. Now remember I said whatever name you put here, the assumption is that it's at the same location with this file. So what we have at the same location is these images. From third class, I can see images. We are currently working inside third class.html. that is this file. The name of this file is thirdclass.html. That's where we are at the moment. So from thirdclass.html, I can call on images. So I will come here and say, go to images. Then next is when you get to images, open it. You want to open this folder. To open it, you put a /. This / says that when you get to images, open the folder. When you open the folder, then you will see a file called when you open it, you will see a file called testing.png. So you now say testing.png. Same with this. Go to images, open it, then you will see a file called secondimage.png. So I think we are good to go now. We can run it and you see your images again. So our images are back. Any question? Lastly, under the image section, this is also possible. Let me give us a scenario. And let's look at this scenario. It's not a common scenario anyway, but it's possible. Let's assume that, remember this, we are currently working inside this third class. Third class is inside new HTML class. The assumption is that whatever name I put here, let me remove this. Whatever name I put here, now any name, whatever name I put here, is directly inside this folder, new HTML class, that is at the same location with this third class. That's the assumption, that whatever name I put there is at the same location with this third class, meaning it's directly inside this new HTML class. But let's now assume that it's on the desktop, meaning that I will need to get out of this folder to go to the desktop. Then I'll see the file. Let me take an image of it. Like I said, it's not a common thing, but it's possible. It's possible. Let's say no, I'm not going to use this. Okay. So let me put this image and take it to the desktop. So this image is on the desktop. What we want to do is this. Our file is, this is our file. We are telling our file, I want to tell our file that get out of your current folder. You know, when we get out of this folder, look at this folder structure. When we get out of this folder, we will go straight to the desktop. Then on the desktop, we can now see this file. I will rename this image to a simple name so that we can easily use it. I can just call it simple name. Simple name. Oh. So I've renamed this to simple name. What I want to do is, I'm saying, go back to the, get out of the current folder and go to the desktop. On getting to the desktop, then you will see that file called simple name. Let's do that together. Next, how then do we instruct it to get out of the current folder? This part may look a bit confusing, but I think it's best we do it in class together so that you, in case you encounter the problem, you easily know how to go around it. Next, how then do we instruct it? Get out of your current folder. You say // What this is saying is this. This is the file we are currently working inside this file. The // we tell HTML that get out of the current folder that you are. In that case, if you get out of the current folder, and if you get out of this folder, it means we will get to desktop. If you get out of this folder, then it means we'll be on the desktop. Once you get out of new HTML class, then we'll be on the desktop. Then when we get to the desktop now, we can now see this file, simple name. Then we check the extension .png. So let's go back to our code. We now say simple name .jpg, sorry, the JPG. Then you can set the odds. I think design. I don't know. Maybe image design. I don't know what is on the design. But now we have this. Let's run it and see the results. But let's set height and width also. Height, maybe 400 pixels, depending on how big you want it to be. Width. So on the browser now, refresh. So this is it. I can change the odds to OSAS Glamour. Odds. OSAS Glamour Flyer. Something like this. So we have this now. This, note that if I use another dots, what I'm saying here is, now we have dot slash and another dot slash. What you are saying is this. Let's look at the structure. The first dot slash we get out of this folder and will be on the desktop. The next dot slash we get out of this desktop and will be directly inside this PC. Do you get it now? The first dot slash it will get out of your current folder. When you say you are currently working here. When you say dot slash, if you get out of this folder that we have, and it's meaning it will come here. When you use the next dot slash, it means it will get out of this folder also, which is the desktop, and it will be PC. I'm just trying to show us how it can be nested. But like I said, you will hardly have any reasons to be doing all of this, at least for now. You hardly have any reasons to be doing all of this. If you think you need to use an image on your page, create a folder like this. Maybe you can call it images folder and put all your images there. Put all your images there. I think that's a good way to start. So whatever image you want to use, just copy and paste it inside this place. So you may not have, for now, you may not have business to be doing all of this, but I'm just trying to show us that it's possible. Any question? Any question? Do we understand? Please, do we understand?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Let's look at maybe 2 more tags before we call it a day. We want to look at the strong tag and the EM tag. Let's look at this too. Strong tag. The strong tag is used to show something that is important on your page. It's used to tell us, or it's used to tell the browser that this thing is important. So let's say I have a P tag. Inside this P tag, I have some text there. Let's say coming. Okay. Let's say hospital website. So I'm assuming that this is an hospital website, and I can say welcome to Tech in UK hospital. Then next is I want to say something like this. We are open at every moment, at every time, from 12 a.m. to 11:59 p.m. 59 p.m. Good. Next is don't it's why coming from surgery in the hospital. I think someone wants to join. Let me quickly allow this person in. So we have some text here. Welcome to Tech in UK Hospital. We are open at every time from 12 a.m. to 11:59 p.m. Don't eat while coming for surgery. Maybe at the hospital, something like this. Don't eat while coming for surgery at the hospital. Now, this text, I don't know if you see, but this text seems to be more important than other things. Like this, like a warning. So I can lay emphasis on this. It's not just laying emphasis, it's to show something important, very important, that should not be omitted. So what do? You wrap it in the strong tag. You close it. So with this now, we are wrapping this text. This don't eat while coming for surgery at the hospital. We are wrapping it with the strong tag. What we are just saying is, we are saying that this text, the text here, is important. More important than other things here. You can use this for warnings, just to show that the text at this place is more important than other text on the page. When you run it on the browser, it will be bolder than the rest. Don't eat while coming for surgery at the hospital. Although the strong tag makes a text bold, don't use it for that purpose. Only use it to show importance. If you want anything to be bold, you will do that in CSS. CSS can help you to style it. If the purpose is just for you to make a text bold and it doesn't connote importance, then don't use the strong tag. The strong tag is just to show that this thing, the text here, is highly important. Do you understand? Please, do we get it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Let's move on. Next is the EM tag, which is emphasis. The EM tag is similar to the strong tag, but I can say maybe it is less important. It's not as important as the strong tag. Or when I put it this way, the EM tag, EM like this, it stands for emphasis. Like you are stressing a word, usually used for a word or just few words. Just assume that I'm speaking with you, and because of the conversation, I just want to stress some words. Then you use the EM tag. Maybe I want to do something like this. Maybe imagine let me open another P tag outside this. So I want to say, come over now. Like so, I can put the noun in EM like this. Just to stress it just to show that, well, it also shows that I'm placing emphasis on it than other things. But it's not as important as this one. The EM is, look at it as though you are speaking with someone and you just want to stress some words so that the person will just pay more attention to it. Just for the person to pay more attention to the words. That's why we bring in the EM, emphasis. When you run it on the browser, it will be in italics. You can see the noun is emphasized. So that is the EM. The strong tag shows importance, very important. Why the EM shows that you are stressing this word. Just as though you are speaking with someone and you want to stretch it. Something like come over now. Something like that. That is what the EM does. Any question? Now, let me talk about this.
Quick question, Mr. Tyrell.
Okay, sir.
Those P tags, are they paragraphs?
Yes, they are paragraphs. I think we looked at that in our last class.
Yeah, because in the last class they started the sentence and they finished the sentence. They weren't on separate lines of code.
You said?
In our last class, the P was in front of, say for example, you put the P in front of welcome, and the closing tag for P, you put it behind the strong. It wasn't different like you put it now.
Okay, no, it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean it's still the same thing. You can place it here. It's still fine here also. It's fine. fine. So, what's it called? We looked at this tongue and this. Okay, I really want to call attention to something. You can see both. Yes, the both tag. It does the same thing, or it is similar to the tongue. If I put anything here, when I get to the browser, it will be bold, just like the strong tag. But the difference is that this bold does not connote any importance at all. It doesn't show that this thing is important. So as much as possible, avoid this. Don't use. It doesn't show importance, any level of importance. So, and I remember I said that if you want to make anything bold, you can easily use CSS to do that. So I don't think you have any reason to use bold. If you want to use the B tag, because if you want it to be bold, you use CSS. And since it doesn't show that this thing is important, then there's no point using the B tag. But you might come across it probably while studying. Don't use the B tag. Screen readers can easily read the strong tag and tell the person using it that the text here are important. The same thing also, you can also come across the I tag, which stands for italicized, like italics. Let's say now. I'll put the now also here. Again, don't use the I tag. Instead, use the EM. Use the EM. This does not show that it is emphasized. This is just telling HTML to italicize it. And again, since you can do that with your CSS, there's no point using this I tag. But I'm just calling your attention to it in case you see it and you know that, well, you don't need to use it. Use the strong tag instead of the B tag, and use the EM tag instead of the I tag. Any question? We're about to round off. Okay, let's summarize everything we've done so far. Then in our next class, we start a new task. I think we are done with the Chief Olufalayi page. We are done with it. So let's quickly round off. Today we looked at how to place an image on the page. We use the img tag. Then the source of the image will be here. That's the location of the image. It can be online or offline. If it's online, all you need to do is go online and copy the image address. Let's say school. And so I can come online and maybe I can go to images section. Images. I think images. So I can copy this, copy image address, then you put it here. The next is set the width and the height to specify the how high you want it to be and how wide you want it to be. The width, you set it. So then the height, you set it. Then the auth, in case screen reader is unable to, for the sake of screen reader, you set the auth image of the screen. So screen reader will be able to, aside that, in case you're unable to fetch this image, it will display this auth. Next is to display an image on your device. Again, you use the img tag. Then the SR, so whatever name you put here, HTML naturally assumes that it's at the same location with the file. So if it's directly there, if it's at the same location with the file, you can just put the name there. But if it's inside a folder like this, you first put the folder name, then the file name. So in this case, it will be images / testing .png. So then again, you set the width and the height. Width, then just set a comfortable width. Height, set it as then auth, then maybe I can't remember what is inside there. So set the auth in case this image is not available. Set the auth. So after then, we looked at the strong. The strong tag is used to signify that something is important, to tell HTML that this thing is important. So important things, important. Then the EM is used to stress something, to stress something. So I think that is all we looked at today. Now to our assignment. Our assignment today will be continuation of our last assignment. Remember, you are building your school portal, like you are building a website for your school. So you have different parts. So you add the necessary image to it. Maybe if you are talking about a faculty, you put the image of a faculty, then maybe a faculty in your school, you put the image. Then if you are talking about the Senate building, you put the image of the Senate building at that location. I don't like that. Please add the necessary images to it, then send it. Now this should be, you will find it a bit difficult to send this one. In case you want to send it, you zip it. So if I want to send this whole folder out, since you will not, you won't just have one file now, you will have many files. So let's say this is a folder. I'm just assuming this is a folder. You zip it, you compress. So you can zip it. Then after zipping it, you can now send it out. Compress it. So with that, you can send it. But by God's grace, we'll be done with HTML soon. So when we're done with HTML, we'll move to Git immediately. With Git, you'll be able to send the URL to me. You won't have issues sending the URLs to me. So instead of zipping and sending, you won't have to go to all of that again. Any question before we go today? Again, since you won't be able to send a folder, you need to first zip it. Then after zipping it, you can now send the file. Because once you zip it, it will compress everything into a file. Then you can now send the file to me. Any question? Do you all understand today's class?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Alright. Thank you very much. I appreciate us. We meet on Saturday, and on Saturday we are going to start a new project again, which will expose us to other tasks that we are yet to look at. Have a lovely night rest. I will send the video to us now.